invocation. Reverend Wayne Blair is going to be giving it. Whether or not you participate in the invocation will have no bearing on the business that you come here to conduct. We offer an invocation at each meeting that we conduct. It's offered for the benefit of the board or the council, whichever it might be, and you can participate or not participate. We also invite anybody that would like to participate in the invocation to give the invocation to let my secretary know, and we'd be glad to allow them to come and do it. So with that, we're going to rise and we're going to do the pledge. I think. Ronnie?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing, please. Reverend Wayne?
I'd like to apologize to you in advance. I have to leave immediately, not because of my schedule, but because of my wife's schedule. Almighty, we come before your presence, grateful that you have given us government. We hope that people will have the right attitude toward government, toward people who serve. We would ask that you would bless this community, that this community would draw together, and as this community celebrates this 200th, that it would be a good celebration, that many, many people would come, and that we would be drawn together more and more. We ask that the service that is rendered by these people would be appreciated by the community, and that the community itself will be appreciated. We look to you for these matters. We ask that you would help these people make decisions, because it is not easy. Many times they're going to have to make decisions that are not easy, and we ask that they would have help in doing so. And we ask these things in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Start the official start of the meeting. First order of business would be that we turn our cell phones on silent or vibrate. Second order of business would be we'd have roll call.
Jane Oakley, Fran Schomel,
Present.
Leonard Urban,
Present.
Mike Bishop,
Present.
Ron Coldiron.
Let the record show that 4 out of 5 of the Board of Works are here today, and we have a quorum, and we are eligible to do business. The reading of the minutes of the last Board of Works and Safety meeting, please.
Mayor, I have read and do agree, and I make a motion to accept the June 3rd, 2013 minutes as written.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the floor to accept the minutes as they were mailed out to the board members. Is there any discussion or corrections? None appearing, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Under new business today, we have a request to close streets for the bicentennial and a financial report from Chairman of the Bicentennial, Mike Sparks. Mike?
Good afternoon. Good to be here again. It's almost here. It's very close. You know, when we started this process, for some of us, there were well over 1,000 days to go. And as I've told a few other people lately, it was this abstract idea that nobody could really wrap their minds around, because it was so far out in the future, you know. Too many people were trying to figure out what they were going to do, you know, through the end of that week. That's no longer the case. We are now at the point in time where it is literally on us. Just to illustrate how close we are, this is Monday. This coming Friday evening, we will be closing down Ziegler Road in preparation for the Soapbox Derby that will be on this coming Saturday and Sunday. We're very proud of what we've seen so far with the qualification and practice stations, the kids, the parents, the grandparents, and even some folks from clear back in the days when we had soapbox racing here before that came down to watch this last time. Everybody has just thought it's the greatest thing they've seen. So we want to invite everybody to participate in that. And then, of course, the week after that, Friday, June the 28th, we jump straight into the bicentennial celebration for 10 days. So, yes, it's here. And something we felt like we needed to do, I think it's in your packet, is all of the street closures and the days and some maps that go along with that. Just about every bit of this, we have come before you at different times and asked for piecemeal. But in order to clarify in your minds and even in our own minds, we felt like we need to put it all in one document. So that's really the purpose for what you see before you today. Mine's scribbled on a little bit, but if you're looking at this document like this, Connersville Bicentennial street closures, and then please tell me you do have the maps that go along with this. Yes. So you should have maps A, B, C, and D. A, B are on one page. By the way, we found out some of them didn't print real well. Does everybody have B? A and B are on the same page. Should be the first page.
Yes.
Okay, good. So if you like, we could just go through this quickly, or however you want to do it.
I think the simplest way, Mike, is have you gone over this with the chief of police?
We've gone through, well, like I
Yes.
said, we've covered this piecemeal. This is just putting it on one document. Before we decide if this is good, I do need to make one addition. We just realized this morning that we have an omission on the last Saturday, July the 6th. Everything you see on your paper that is listed as street closures on Saturday, July the 6th would be relating to the parade. So if you would, I'm sorry I don't have new copies to cover this. This is all parade, so I just marked parade in parentheses. Everything that you're seeing down here is parade. And obviously that is illustrated as map D. What we failed to put at the very bottom, we anticipate that these streets will open back up after the parade is over. And obviously that time is a little bit in flux, just depends on how many units and how long it takes to make the route. But we're anticipating, 2 o'clock or so in the afternoon, those streets would be ready to open back up. However, we will need the parking lot downtown still, and we will still need the block around it because we do have entertainment scheduled for the stage downtown that evening. So the one addition we need to make to Saturday, July the 6th would be after the parade, we need to continue with map B. It would be map B for the downtown. That needs to remain closed through the evening after the parade route is opened back up. And the simplest way to illustrate or to explain it, if we just go by map B throughout the remainder of the day into the evening, and the concerts I think are scheduled to run until approximately 11 o'clock or so that evening. Obviously after the concerts are done, then those streets can open back up.
Mike, I have met with the different day chairmen and things, and we have posted a time of midnight.
Yeah.
So I don't know if some of them are gonna run 11. We found that people gripe after midnight, and so all concerts and all activities will close at midnight.
Yeah. And some of them may be done a little bit before
If they
then.
are,
yeah.
that's fine.
We're under that, we remember that, we need to be closed down no later than midnight. I anticipate some of them will close before that. But yeah, at some point, I don't know how many of us will be getting any sleep that week, but probably some people in town like to get a little sleep, yeah. So this first paper then, everything on it is correct with that addition that I just noted. Anybody have any questions?
I think as long as the police chief has okayed this, we may have to tweak it from time to time if you see something else happens, but I'd like to take a motion that we go ahead and allow this to take place. I think we've been over it several times, we kind of know what's happening. We got that parade route all straightened out, right, chief?
Yeah, it's pretty much, it's what we agreed on. I don't think I got a question on right off, Mike, is this part here, is there some reason, I haven't looked down at your, what's this here? That's the parade route, you got it going down through here, but why is that not darkened down when it goes over on 9th Street? On 9th over to,
I can't tell you.
and also, I wanna note that a lot of these side streets, like through, you know, like 23rd, 21st, they're not gonna be barricaded. I'll have officers around there making, because I cannot just put barricades across there and block, you know, traffic going to crossways before the parade or even after parade because of emergency vehicles or whatever, and people do live in here and gotta get to their homes, so.
Well, and, you
But
know,
There
obviously,
will not be nobody on the parade route, okay?
that's fine, and obviously, we're not even, you know, the center of all this darkened area isn't even the actual parade route, but it's an area that we understand, those folks are kinda locked in during the time the parade is right next to them, so, yeah.
Also, I want to bring up in this meeting also that I look for your parade to start really kind of breaking up down here after you get down here to Fifth and Grand. Because when we talked about it originally, it was going to be an escort all the way back up to 24th to cut across.
Well, there has been some discussion about that. Our current thinking is most of the units will go all the way back up.
Yeah, so that's going to turn into more of an escort back up to your staging area versus a 5 or 10 mile an hour type parade going down through there.
Well,
We're probably going to have to kick that up a notch.
the only thing is, we're drawing a little bit on 1963 history here, and they chose to have a long parade route because of the number of folks that were spread out all over town watching it. If there's nobody on Western Avenue, it would be as you say. If, on the other hand, all the folks that live up Western are out there to see a parade, then we expect we need to give them a parade. And see, it's really something we don't know until it happens.
Well, that's true, because, you know, depending on how many officers I need for a function, I'm not going to just assign 10 to 15 officers or whatever to a function until I really examine each function. And I'll have to might be one of those deals where I'll go there, I probably could use another 2 or 3 or 4 officers, and I'll call in to what I need at that time. Myself and Fire Chief and Dale, we discussed there are a lot of different things going on in all these different functions. So if you see a police officer there, or any police officers, you're going to see a fire and an EMS there too.
Can we get some help, excuse me, can we get some help from the civil defense?
No, I'll have a little bit, but that's, I've got state police, I got
Okay.
county.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, I'm
But
sorry.
the thing is,
That's fine.
we're doing the main thing, we're paying the overtime, and I've got to be,
That's
I'm
great.
gonna be real picky on what we use. Now, the day of the parade and the big concert, you're gonna have everything, everybody I can get. On all these other little things, you'll have to judge it by the crowd and this type of thing, so it's gonna be a judgment on the daily basis of how many people we got there. Of course, we have, several thousands of people down here, at watching a concert or something, by all means, we'll have more officers, but you only have maybe 100 or maybe 50 or something like that. You just have to weigh it out, and we'll go from there to call certain officers in.
Okay.
And believe me, I'm gonna be monitoring everything we do.
Oh, I want the people to be safe and watch traffic. We're gonna all work together on this, so I take a motion, we accept this unless there's a legal issue.
When's the parade begin?
11.
Okay, and your staging area is where?
Mostly up in the north end, Kmart parking lot, 27th Street over toward Grand,
Okay,
and perhaps parts of the park.
okay, and what is the route? Can you give us a parade route?
Okay,
Map
yeah.
D.
It's on the map D, but I'd
Well,
like to get it.
I don't need to look at the map, but it's in there somewhere.
See, the arrows indicate what direction it goes down.
Grand, it starts at 20, basically the parade starts at 27th and Grand, right
Okay.
across from Grandview School.
Okay,
It'll proceed south to 9th Street. At 9th, we'll go east over 1 block to Central Avenue. Central Avenue, we're gonna go south to 5th Street. At 5th Street, we'll hang a right and go over to Grand Avenue. At Grand Avenue, we're gonna go north, and we're gonna go to East Western and follow it on up underneath the trestle, all the way to 24th. 24th, we're gonna hang a right and cut clear across back over to Park Road, where I'll have officers stationed to let the parade traffic cross Park Road, and they can go into Kmart, whatever. And Ed and I talked about opening up that gate so that goes, so you get over to Walmart, there's a gate over there that goes right into 14 acres. And it takes you right over to the park and wherever they're returned to their staging areas, whether it be, they have something that has to be trailered or horses or whatever it may be.
And when will you begin closing streets?
Well, we were doing that morning. We'll be
Okay.
closing streets, but that isn't gonna stop people at 9 o'clock in the morning when they go to the grocery store to go up Grand Avenue. But all the streets will be cleared from any vehicle traffic,
And parking, there'll be no parking.
no parking. We'll have signs up, no parking. We're gonna publicize it and it'll be all cleared off and everything. Everything
Okay,
will be cool.
thanks.
Thank you, Dave.
I got a motion, was there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Mike, we'll just keep working it.
Thank you.
I noticed on the front of there, we've got that hydrant and we got that power all taken care of, don't we?
Yes.
Your man has looked at it, our people have looked at it.
Along those lines, if you want to talk about city parking lot just a minute, yeah, our laser show guy, Rick Kopernak, has been up here on 2 or 3 occasions, actually. He's very pleased with the parking lot, the way the setting is. He said we even planted new trees at just an interval that allows him to shoot. His equipment will actually be on Fifth Street, but it will be shooting the lights through between those trees onto a big stage or a big screen that will be in
Where will
the
the screen
parking
be
lot.
against the courthouse? Or-
No, the screen will actually be suspended between 2 bucket trucks, and it will be in the northwest corner, so that would be next to the entryway coming in between the city parking lot and Old Burkhurst.
So most people will be down that way viewing it north.
It will be, yeah, it'll be catty corner, so it'll be facing towards central.
Are you gonna have bleachers, or is everybody just stand or bring their chairs?
That'll be a stand or bring your own kind of bleachers. In fact, many of our events are advertised that way. Bring your own chairs, bleachers up in the park, even blankets, you know, like we used
Now,
to.
you need the key to the water hydrant. I gotta get that through the fire chief. Fire chief,
Yeah.
you're gonna work with, huh? You're taking care of that?
He does, and I'll make sure that he gets.
Okay. You need a hose or anything?
No, he brings all that.
So you
All
just
we
need to connect
is
to a
the water
hydrant?
hookup. And we had discussed that, I just wanted to make sure it was good.
All right.
The only other thing, we've talked about this, I just wanted to get it on the official docket. There are, when Rick was up here last time, he noted that we have about 5 or 6 street lights. It doesn't matter on up Central or on down, but the 5 or 6 street lights that are right around our city parking lot need to be turned off for the duration of the laser show. Now, Rick said he does this in community after community. Rarely are those street lights on a switch. They're just wired. So he said typically somebody goes around that evening before or sometime before and pulls a photo cell out of the top, so they just simply don't come on that evening. But we just need to make some provision. Otherwise, that light will interfere greatly with the quality of the show.
Huh?
Them monitored by the state?
No, they belong to public service and we rent them. Can you take care of that, Troy?
We'll call and see if public service will.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, see if they'll probably want an insurance certificate and find out how to do it. The only way we can do is with a fire truck. Bucket truck won't go high enough.
I think they'll do it for us.
Will they? Will you take care of that duty? We gotta get someone in charge of all this stuff here so we know who's doing what. And report back to Mike or myself, see what you get done. And mark the lights that you need turned off and then turn back on. I'm sure they'll cooperate. I've had Kathy Winning over, we've been over the laser light show. I think they'll cooperate in every way.
Well, you know, this is something we hadn't even thought about, but that's the beauty of having somebody that has the experience, Rick, and he said this is a common thing when it goes into different.
Your point man on that then will be Troy.
Good. Only other thing I have is, you have before you our latest financial report. About the second or third page, you would see the account balance as it stands as of the date. We're comfortable with where we are. We are starting to draw down now as we pay some major deposits and so on for this and that, but we anticipate that all along. On the other side, I would say that we did receive $10,000 from one of the major sponsors the other day. That was on our radar, that, you know, it had been pledged, but we have that in the bank now. We are still receiving monies that were not on the radar, donations that are still coming in from folks that just seem to be buying in more and more to what we're doing.
For the Board of Works benefit, the $123,096.46 does not include any anticipated income, right? It's just money in the bank.
No, that's money that's in the bank right now.
So, on all of this, we're not including any anticipated income.
We have figures on what anticipated income should be, but they're not a part of this. no.
Yeah, we want to, and our budgets match or are under the 123,000.
Well, hopefully, we're gonna have good attendance at all of our events, but we budgeted anticipating kind of worst-case scenario. If we had a concert and nobody came, that doesn't seem real likely based on the response we're getting to the bicentennial things we've done so far. But our financial structure is such, we think we can survive very well, even if some of our concerts did not perform well from an attendance standpoint. And I would add, just Friday, I signed insurance forms. We are insured against our major outside entertainment if it rains us out. So we won't lose that income or that money that we've already pledged, because those folks get paid rain or shine. You might remember Crystal Gale many years ago came to town, it was raining. She picked up her check, got back on the bus and left. Well, that's the way they virtually all operate, so we are insured against a rain out.
Just to cover the expense.
That will cover our expenses. And by the way, that came in, as the mayor well knows, we had a budgeted amount for rain insurance that came in about $1,200 less than we had budgeted, so we saved some money there.
And I think it's well to tell the Board of Works, we have put a rider on our major insurance. That's to take care of things that could happen. We have some extra insurance on many other things like instruments at the school. That doesn't mean I want people to use their insurance. We're just trying to have a stopgap in case something would go wrong. I think we've covered everything, and Julie and I and John Baker have worked with the Bicentennial Committee. I think you feel comfortable, John, that we're okay?
Right. We have a lot of certificates of liability insurance which indicate that the city's been named as an additional insured by many of the entities that are going to be involved. This one happens to be for the, it's called Amherst Artillery Inc. That's who's going to do the cannon thing. And that's, we're named as an additional insured on this policy for $1 million, so that's good.
Okay, on the acceptance of this profit and loss budget versus actual, all of these expense items have been okayed by the Budget Committee, which consists of 9 people. 5 people have to agree and sign off before anything can be approved. And I think on 98% of the cases, Julie and I serve on that, it's been almost 100%. Once in a great while, we've had a dissenter. So all the budget expenses are covered. Can I tell you that it's exact? No, but it's very, very close. So I need an approval of that finance report, which will also go to council tonight.
I move that we accept this financial report for the bicentennial profit and loss budget versus actual.
Motion and a second to accept the budget of the Bicentennial Committee as it looks today. And any further discussion? Anybody out there have any discussion or question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank
Good
you.
report. Very
Be
good.
sure to come and see us soon. It's starting.
It's here, isn't it?
Roll away.
Okay, Susie Maines is having a family or class reunion. She's actually going to have the class at her house. She's made arrangements with the church over at the Lutheran Church on 3rd to park the cars over there. She just lives about a block in. She would like to have permission to run a shuttle with a couple of golf carts to shuttle people over there, and the date of that is June 28th. Now, I'm going to have to cross State Road 1, so I'll have to have an officer over there during those hours.
Is that a Saturday, Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you.
No, wait, June 28th is Friday.
Mayor, I talked to Daryl, and at first, I like to talk to him again and see if I can get a couple of vans, because I looked up the latest law on the moped thing.
No,
and how we
golf
had-
cart.
Or, excuse me, moped, golf cart. That was another one. Anyway, and what it is, remember we were trying to get an ordinance passed and all this, and then Alsea came in and passed this law. And what it basically said, you can operate a golf cart on city streets or whatever, depending on, we can still pass an ordinance. But they're gonna have to be licensed, just like an automobile, insurance, plates, through the BMV. And, I wouldn't have too much problem if it was crossing a state highway. I can't guarantee safety. I cannot put a police officer out there letting.
All right, let's not spend a lot of time on this then. Let's okay this to the point they use a van.
That's what I would suggest. I mean,
I'm one of the churches, I think we've had really good luck with talking to the churches to get a van. Is that all right at the board?
Yes.
Yes.
that's why I was
We'll
gonna
stay away
suggest-
from the golf cart issue because of the state law.
Yeah, I agree.
And you've talked with Daryl, that's okay
I
with
talked,
him?
well, I haven't talked to Daryl about the van. I'm gonna have to talk to him about it,
Okay.
but I will do that.
If they use a van, we don't really have to have anything
No.
to do with it.
Well, other than this, we just want maybe an officer out there while they're crossing that night. when they're leaving.
Mayor, I got officers gonna be working this bicentennial.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't think we can do
A
that.
van would just be like normal traffic.
Normal
Right,
traffic.
yeah, in and out of their parking lot, but
Okay, well then, would you tell them we suggest that they use a van?
Yes, I will tell him that. I think that'd be better for everybody involved.
the state highway's a real problem.
It is, and I
It's busy.
consulted with some
Yes.
troopers on
A lot
this
of
too,
trucks.
and it could be a problem.
Okay, item C, request for a bucket drive for Woodland Bible Church mission trip on July 20. Reverend Knox Boyd.
Our youth group is planning a missions trip to Arizona to work with Native Americans. And just wondered if we could have permission to do a bucket drive.
Melissa?
He's good.
It's good? 3 places or 2?
3.
Okay. Any discussion?
No, I move to approve this bucket drive for the Woodland Bible Mission Church on July 20th, 3 locations. I think you don't have to have the placards and the vest and all that stuff.
I've done it with Hope Pregnancy Center.
You know the ropes.
I do.
Is there a second?
So, yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
See you soon.
We have a like request for a bucket drive, Connersville High School senior class, July 13th. Holly Dunn. You don't look like Holly Dunn.
No.
You look like a volleyball player.
I'm Sandra Out, and I'm the president of the class of 2014, and we'd like to request a boot drive on July 13th
And what are you gonna do with your money?
for the prom.
Well, the prom.
Yes,
The after prom party or the prom itself?
the prom itself.
Okay.
Have you ever done this before? You've been.
Holly has.
Okay, you know how it goes. Okay. You want the 3 locations?
Yes.
Okay. I move that we allow the CHS senior class of 2014 for a bucket drive on July 13th.
Of course, you're gonna have it this year, are you, on the
Yeah, but it's
13th
for the
of July, but it's for
2014.
2014?
Yes.
Right.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Anybody? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You got her.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I wondered if I can't go down and take you guys, so you don't have to sit through all this stuff. You're gonna give us a report, right? We had I don't think there's anybody in Connersville doesn't know we had a major spill out on 3rd Street, West 44. And we've been working closely with the company, closely with the insurance company and our department heads. So you guys go ahead and kick it off. We'll get you out of here. We're not gonna make you sit through all this stuff.
Yeah, you want to, sure. Just tell them what happened.
Sure. Just introduce yourself with the address and, so that media can get it.
Sure. Steve Wakefield with Superior
Hi, Steve.
Oil Company, and we're the owner of the transportation vehicle that wheel dropped off the road out on the west side of town in Mr. Spurlock's front yard. It flipped over and we lost about 2,300 gallons of paint-related material, which is a paint thinner. And since then, a couple weeks ago, we've been working as quickly as we can to identify where that material is in the property. We think we have done that. Initially, we took out 15 roll-off boxes, 20-yard roll-off boxes of dirt right into the Spurlock's front yard where the majority of the contamination was. But it had migrated a little bit. You get down about 8 feet and there's some very hard clay there that stopped it, and it spread out in the soil. So we've been spending our time going around and looking at exactly where it is on the Spurlock property and on the Hardy property. And we have a couple of consultants on site right now. They're doing that work, and we anticipate getting started digging and hauling that material to a disposal facility that's still on the property here in the next week, maybe the week after that, but in the very near future, and getting that taken care of, and working with IDEM and working with the fire department and the local agencies to make sure that's done well. There was a water line that was impacted. There's a 10-inch line, I believe, on the north side of the street, the south side of the street, and on the north side of the street where the spill occurred, there's a 4-inch water line. It's transite? Transite. And some of that runs through where the spill occurred and is impacted by the spill, being that the spill is around that. And there's some question about the long-term effect on that particular material, whether it will attack that material. So our goal is to provide new water service from the south side 10-inch main under the State Road 44 to the residents, approximately 5 residents on the north side of the street. So far, we believe that it's going well. It's an unfortunate incident. We wish it hadn't happened, obviously, but we're going to persevere and make sure that it's cleaned up to the state standards and taken care of.
I want to tell you folks that Reclaim Energy under Superior's head is a good neighbor and a good company. They employ people here. They work with our fire department and our police department. We've had a major fire right next door. It was handled very well. They also have an excellent relationship with IDEM. And I'm not saying that they buy IDEM pies and cakes. I'm saying that they do everything that IDEM asks them to do. I see their reports on a quarterly basis. Their reports come back very clean, very honest, and upfront. This was an unfortunate thing that happened, but they have been so good to work with us. I did get a couple of complaints that said that we didn't know what we were doing when we went out there that morning. I was criticized because I wasn't out there. I didn't need to be there because I didn't know what I was doing. We have experts such as our fire chief, the people from IDEM, the people that did the foaming, that did do it. And I think I'd like for you to say you're aware of everything went on, and I'd like an overview of how you think it was handled.
I think it was handled with the utmost professional response from the city. Those things are very difficult to manage. It was a flammable liquid, and immediate response from the fire department and the closure of the state road and foaming of the situation and maintaining the site integrity to keep people out of the area until we could get the truck uprighted, which took quite a while because it still had about 2/3 of the product on it, and the fire department did a fantastic job, as well as the other city agencies. So the public works people were out there and looked at the water line situation, and the police chief, and it was just a very, very well-run situation, because those things are very, very difficult to handle. And I really want to commend the efforts of the city. They did a fantastic job.
I wanted the people to hear from you, because you're the man that's in charge out there. I mean, it's your company. We appreciate you, and any questions that you'd like to ask today is the day to. We've had IDEM in, and we've worked with him, and everything he says about IDEM is correct. We're on the right path to clean it up.
I have a question.
Sure.
You may not be the one to answer, but I've had several people ask me, do we know what caused the accident?
The driver states that he looked away from the road, looked down or something and lost contact with the road, and when he reached down, I believe, when you reach down in the truck, and between the white line and the edge of the road is about 30 inches, and then you've got that steep drop off on the right side of the road, and his drive tire just dropped off into that soft dirt. And when you're dealing with a tractor trailer, once that happens, your tandem is followed behind you. And had there been a lot of space there, you might have been able to slow down or get it back up on the road. In fact, the tractor seemed to have gone mostly back up on the road. But you're dealing with a couple hundred feet between two driveways. And they've got those culverts and those concrete structures there, and those back tandems hit the concrete structure before you could get back up on the road, tore part of them off, and within about 30 or 40 feet, it was dead stopped and on its side, so. But it was the driver error that did it.
That's fair enough, thank you.
Any other questions? Anybody here today?
Have a date when cleanup might be completed?
I don't, but once we get started, it'll be very intense, so in terms of getting the soil removed. So we are not meeting with IDEM today, we're meeting with IDEM tomorrow, and we hope to roll that plan out tomorrow from our consultants.
Okay.
And once that's approved and our disposal facilities are finally selected, then we'll get with final remediation.
I know you guys have been very busy. I live right near there on the south side of the road, so I've been watching all the activity over there, and a lot of people involved.
Everybody in town knows we're in the process of transferring that Pramco property north of their facility here in town to them. And the question I get every day, is this going to affect that transfer? And he assures me it's not going to affect that transfer. And Mr. Baker assures me that we're right at the brink of doing it. Is that correct, Mr. Baker?
Right, we're waiting for an execution copy of the purchase agreement, which should be any time, I presume.
It should be, I mentioned it last week, and I should have it, so.
Good.
So they not only are good neighbors, they're good job providers, they're good people. They're going to expand somewhat up there and make that corner look a lot nicer than it does. I noticed, I think you already cut some weeds down since you and I talked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ron got right on there.
Thank you, because we need to make it look as nice as we can for the bicycle.
We're working on it. And our hope is on that corner piece to build an office building, a small office building for our office staff and our operations people, and also a small maintenance building there. And when we dress the corner up, make it look really nice. And some additional parking back there.
Thank you. That's great. Good.
Mayor, I might add, we've had a couple meetings with IDM, Mike Sutton, and of course, Mr. Wakefield, Superior. They have been very, very informative. They've never hesitated to answer questions. Feel very comfortable with what's going on. It's a bad situation for everyone, but I think it's been handled very professionally.
Thank you.
Ronnie continues to represent Board of Works with this group, and so we'll continue, and we just wish you the best, and we'll get her cleaned up and move down the road. Thank you so much for coming. Anybody else have any question before? Thank you.
Okay.
Press, did you have any questions? You have a question?
Can I button line for Sunny to get back?
Yeah. You got work to do?
Yes.
You can work later tonight.
I can, I'll do that, and I'll be back at 7 too. Just, everybody knows that we were milling and paving, we're working on Grand Avenue.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Everybody knows that Grand Avenue is a mess for a few days. And then we're gonna do the short street on 12 between Central and Grand, so that'll be milled and taken care of the next.
Should be all completed by Wednesday evening.
Yeah.
Unless we get a bunch of rain.
No later than Thursday, but I just want everybody to know about that. Also, because of what's coming up, we'll still pick up trash on the 4th of July on that Thursday, so everybody knows. But it's a holiday, but we'll have one guy picking up the trash, so
The press isn't in here. Do you hear that?
just want everybody to know.
Trash on 4th of July will be as usual.
And Grand Avenue's messed up until Thursday, or Wednesday night, Thursday morning, depending upon weather.
No parking on Grand.
No recycles and.
But no recycle, just trash, so we can do the recycle in the next. Just, all these holidays fall on the different dates, and Mondays, all through the week, so, but we will pick up the trash on
We're
Thursday.
going from 6th Street to 15th Street to resurface Grand Avenue, and then on 12th Street over to Central. And that'll be done, and then we'll pull out of town until the bicentennial's over. We'll come back in late July or 1st of August to do the rest of our streets. And we're doing it that way. I would love to do Grand Avenue North, but it's scheduled to be tore up right after the bicentennial, so we're gonna have to tolerate it. 20 to 24th is rough, but we have to tolerate it because there's no point in covering it and then have to tear it up again. Same with the sidewalks up there.
Sidewalks too.
We've
But from
we've already,
15th Mike to 6th on Grand.
Yeah. We're not gonna pour them and then have to tear them out and do it again, so we're gonna tolerate it.
Then 12th Street between Central and Grand. I just want everybody to be aware of it.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you guys.
You can go back to work.
Thank you.
Rats, Ms. Rats, for the approval for the fair parade for Lincoln Centers.
Yes.
Oh.
Hi there. I'm just here for the approval of the parade route for July 28th. The parade will start at 2. We always start line up well before that. The parade route hasn't changed since last year. Mr. Counselor is aware of it as well. You know, we line up over in the old D&M parking lot, and then we go down 21st Street to Dom's, left on Grand, follow 27th Street, turn right on 24th to Park Road, and right into the parks. So,
I don't think anybody has a problem with that.
Well, what's the date on that?
it is the 28th, it's the last Sunday in July.
Sunday, the 28th.
I move, Your Honor, that we honor this request and approve a fair parade route for Rachel Rats.
Is there a second?
Second, please.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I have a hard time saying Rachel Rats.
Yes.
Rachel Malone, but I'm getting used to it. I'm working on
I'm
it.
having a hard time too.
Are you? Rachel's a hometown gal, and she does a great job. She headed up the, tell me what they called it, over at the Lincoln Centers, we hosted that this year.
Senior Olympic Games.
Senior Olympic, and it was fantastic to watch what happened over there that morning. I had the opportunity to go over and throw out the first ball or whatever I did.
Yeah, you started off the games for us.
And this is a wonderful thing for Connersville. All the nursing homes in the area participate. Area 9, is that?
Our area has 5 counties in it, and it's Area 9, and residents from all the nursing homes in all the counties, it's about 15 to 20 nursing facilities came. We had about between 200 and 300 people that day.
It was a wonderful program and the weather was just right.
It was very hot.
It got warm in the afternoon.
Yes, it did.
Thank you,
very
Rachel. We
much.
look forward to seeing you on parade day. Okay. Waving the weed lanes. George, come on up. You have copies in front of you, each one of you board members. Tell us your story, George.
Okay, well, I've got 2 properties, 821 Conwell, 207 Cale Street. They've both been rehabbed. One sold, and the other one, we have a couple of people interested. We've been taking care of it since we took possession on
Did
11.
these liens get on prior to you owning it?
Yes.
You bought it at commissioner sale, or how'd you buy it?
I bought it at a lien sale, the tax liens.
Tax sale? Okay, then you had to wait a year in between.
I had that, in that year float time for redemption.
That's when these came on.
That's when those come on.
You got pictures to show what you've done to it or anything?
I did have pictures, but I couldn't find them this morning, so.
Oh.
But we re-bricked, like on Cal Street, we put a brick front on it.
I think we have to deny it if you didn't bring the pictures.
Oh, please. I put a brick front on, I put a new roof on it, new front porch on Cal Street. Conwell, it's in probably a $30,000, $40,000 neighborhood. I just painted the siding, put up some privacy fence.
It's all cleaned up and...
All cleaned up, all painted up.
Grass mowed.
We've been paying the taxes, been mowing it since we took possession.
You know, it's our goal in life is to get these back on the tax roll, which we have. All 3 and he's put the money in it, and that's what we've been doing. Do you have any questions, or?
One is $137.50. One is $150.
$87.50.
187.50.
Let's see, Conwell, I've got down 316 on the weed lien, I don't know. That might be the lien fee that they charged me also. I'm not sure.
Do you have some
They
water?
they actually put some other fees on those, I think the auditor does.
Yeah.
So they take that part off
I
when
see.
we release these.
I'm showing $137.50. $150 on one, and then $100
It's
on the other.
$287.50 is what,
$287 on all three
on
properties.
Conwell, and then another $100 on Kales.
There you go. 287.50.
Your Honor, I take this gentleman at his word because I've known him and he said he's cleaned it up. I have no reason to doubt him. I'll make a move that we accept rescinding these weed liens against this property. and Get it back on the tax roll.
Any second to that?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Anybody out there object? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried, George. Thank you for
Appreciate
cleaning it up and getting it on tax roll.
Don't ask for more.
Well, actually, I got a couple more questions for you. One was, and I may be taking this up at the wrong place, I don't know, the sewer lien should have been $59.19 for a full year for the storm sewer assessment, five something a month.
525 in there.
Yeah.
550.
And on Kell Street, it was 167 instead of the 59 that it should have been. So what's happened is they didn't take off, that was billed prior to even the float time. So I don't know who I would take that up with.
Standing right there.
If it was before you purchased it, it would be two utilities.
Okay.
We have to
We
forgive
bought
it.
several of these, and it's $59 on all of them, 59 some change. And this one was 167, so there was a mistake on there some way, somehow.
Well, that's possible, or it could have been for a longer period of time. I don't know.
Okay.
But if you want to come up to the office, we'll review it
Okay.
and do what we need to do. Either get it paid or.
You have standard ways of resolving that, so this board don't need to resolve that, right?
Okay. And then one other, it's on weed lien also. And we bought this one, this was not last year, but the year before. We bought the lien on 2010, and we took possession 2011, 2011. And we had the property, sold the property, and they put a lien on it after I sold the property for the weed liens during that float time.
How much is it?
It was $440.
Do you have the documentation there, Joe?
I do not. This is, the people that we sold this property to called me up and said, look, there's a weed lien, and then that's when we got involved and tried to figure out how we missed it. And so the weed lien never got put on it until a later date for whatever reason. I had already sold the property.
What was the address of that?
816 East Fifth Street. She went ahead and paid it, so now she's kind
There
of...
were some that we had an issue with the auditor's office, or we took the liens over, and for some reason they didn't get put on for a whole year.
Yeah.
And I think that might have been one of them. Can't remember the name it was listed under.
Because I was here, that year also for weed lien relief, but that one didn't have any on it,
And
so
I
I
think that lady
actually...
called,
What's her name, George?
It's Mike and Brenda Gibbons. I have a phone number even if you need that.
How do you want to handle that, Clerk Treasurer?
I don't know if we release the lien, if they give their money back on it.
I don't know how that works, but she went ahead and paid it. And then, she feels like I'm obligated because, she didn't own it when the weed lien, and actually I didn't own it when the weed lien was put on it, and it was...
If you would have known it was there, you would have
I
asked
would have
for it
approached
again.
the board that
We
year.
could try to release it and see if the county would refund her money to her.
Why don't we make a motion to release it and then let him work with the county?
Well, I can work with the county.
But we still need to release it.
Yeah, we need to release it.
I did tell Brenda that I would bring it up today, that I was coming down, and I just was notified of this about 2 or 3 days ago.
Again, I hope the press understands what we're doing here. It's our goal to get these properties on the tax roll, and there's a year interim in between buying a lien before you get possession, And nobody has control of what happens on that, and we end up having to take care of it. So it's not fair for the new owner, it's really the old owner, which is already delinquent, because there wouldn't be a lien if it was, so that's what we're doing.
I have a question, Your Honor,
Yeah.
Mr. Baker. Is the buyer of that property allowed to sell that property during that year?
No, they don't get a deed. They have a certificate only.
You said you sold it during the year, or did I misunderstand you?
You misunderstood. It was past the year. Once I,
Okay, I
but
didn't
this has
say
been
that.
2 years ago since this was 2010 when I bought the lien. And I didn't take the possession until 2011. And during that float time, you know, the yard was mowed, and then it was neglected to be put on the tax roll.
They didn't get the liens on it.
I got you.
And then I had fixed that one up and sold it, you know, relatively quick, so I never saw the lien, sold it to them without a lien, and then all of a sudden they had a lien on it. And-
But you sold it after your year waiting period,
Yeah.
right? Okay,
Yeah, you have to wait a year.
that's what I thought.
And then you normally, you know, even if we jump right on them, it's normally 3 months where we can get them
Okay.
prepped, because they're normally in, you know, pretty dismal shape.
What he's
Mike,
doing, he's
did you-
accomplishing,
or,
getting
I'm
these
sorry.
properties cleaned up and back on the road, which is a whole lot better than us taking care of them.
I agree.
And I'd like to add that I try not to rent. I mean, there's occasion, I'd say probably 90% or even more, we sell on contract, so the people take care of the properties once we don't have to worry about, when we sell them, when we rent them, we have, you know, 10 times the problems with, you know, keeping the grass mowed, getting them to keep the trash picked up out of the yard. We find when we sell them on contract, we don't have that problem, and they treat it as their own home, as they should, because they're buying it.
George, I think there's, and I've read some of that documentation on that. I think there's also a statement in there where it's your obligation to see what has been applied during that, call it a delinquent year or a retired year or whatever. So did you check and see if maybe anything, or did you just take it for granted that there was no liens on it?
Well, we
At
have
that
title
time,
search.
on this one, at that time, there wouldn't have been.
So if he'd done a title search and there was nothing on, he would not have known it anyway, right?
No.
Yeah. There was no way for me to know this, and then even after I took possession, you know, then, you know, it
We
still
ran into
wasn't.
this before, where something doesn't get registered somehow.
See, when was the
It's
lien?
catch-up. That's just what it did, catch-up time.
You know, the service date was 7/26/2011. That was prior to me taking possession. But I wasn't notified, or else, you know, I was here that very year getting relief on the other properties that I'd acquired. And so it just, you know, it just wasn't notified at that time.
You need a motion, Your Honor, to let Julie investigate this. I'll make that motion.
Well, we need a motion to release the lien, and Julie will take care of the paperwork.
Release the lien and let Julie take care of the rest of it. Make that motion.
Well, I'll inform Brenda that, just to get in contact.
We don't know if she'll get her money back, because it's after the fact, we never had one of those.
Well, that's what I told her. I said, I don't know how this
We'll
works.
release the
I told
lien
her
because
she-
it wasn't her fault, it wasn't your fault.
Yeah. I told her she should contact me first, but she said that they said it was delinquent taxes and not a weed lien, or she didn't, I don't know. But anyway,
She didn't understand.
yeah, it's confusing.
Is there a second?
I'll second, yeah.
Anybody have any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, George. Request for bucket drive, July 27th, homeless shelter, Ken Fuller, and I don't think he's here. Okay, table that one. Approval for annual, Neil Post agreement, what's that?
That's on our postage meter.
Oh, that's what I got sitting here. What do you need approval for?
A maintenance agreement.
$516.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have an approval for annual security service agreement, Tyco, for the Miller Center. That's where we pay so much a month for them to monitor it, and of course, call somebody when it calls in. How much is it?
$27.85.14.
It's $232 a month. Isn't that kind of high for
Seems
for
like it
monitoring.
is.
Now, my house is just about 120 a year.
Mine's 18
A month?
a year, a month, yeah. Yes.
Mike's not here.
That does seem high, Ron.
I think so too, I guess.
Let's recommend that he shop for that.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Another thing, since we're monitoring everything in the park with cameras, and it actually records everything, I think we got 16 or 18 cameras watching things in the park now. I'm wondering if we need that.
Do we have the Miller Building in?
Yes,
in sight?
I think we do. I think everything is.
Is this,
What did these guys just assure that everything's working, or do they
No,
work
if the
on it?
alarm goes off,
they rattle a door or
But
something?
No.
they do come in if we have issues with the alarm system.
So it's kinda like your home security system, what you guys are talking about. I got you.
but
Yeah, that does,
let's
that-
do some discussion with
I
them
agree with
before we
Ron. I
approve it.
think that's way,
Resolution 2013, 26, and 27 transfers motor vehicle and police. I'd like to take them both at the same time.
Make a motion to accept the resolution number 2013, 26, and 27 as written. You want the amounts?
Now, we know what they are, 1432 and 12.5.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second to take both those resolutions with transfers in police and MVH. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution 2013-28, utility contract. This is the contract between utility workers and the city of Connersville. This has been a long, long, long time coming. Mr. Baker has a resolution in front of you. If you approve it, we will take it on to the city council. And I told the union when we negotiated, and I've told you, I've told everybody, I will not take this to the city council for approval until I know there's a full council going to be there that night, because I've heard this for the last 6 or 7 years. I didn't vote for it, and I want everybody here to make up their mind whether they are or they
Good
aren't.
point. I don't blame you.
So, basically, if you've read this, there is some wage increase in here. It's 30 the first year, 30 the second, 20 and 30, 20, 10, 10. It's a 4-year contract. But in return for that, we get the number of part-time people. I think it's 6, 5, and 4, depending on how many full-time employees that can do anything. Mr. Baker, did you have time to review this morning?
Yes, I've seen it.
Does it meet all the things we negotiated?
It appears to. I read through it and it appears to. I didn't prepare it.
We also have a little bit of a, when we tried to promote somebody up at the waterworks, we got in trouble. So we have some language in here, when they get their WT3 or their certifications, how much money they get. This will encourage people to go and get their certifications, so we don't have to go through that again. There's 5 part-time employees, or 16 full-time employees working, we can have 5 part-time. If there's 15, we can have 4. If there's 14, we can have 3. 13, we can have 2. 12, we can have 1. 11 or less employees, we're not allowed to have them. They can work only 29 hours a week. They're not eligible for paid vacations, paid holidays, paid sick days, paid funeral leave, health insurance, personal days provided herein. Part-time employees shall accumulate seniority only as it relates to other part-time employees. The utility has to offer the full-time jobs if there's somebody hired to a part-time employee, before hiring a full-time employee, but it's up to the Board of Works to make that selection. I'm trying to hit the major points that we changed. We did create a committee of an employee and union member, Board of Works member, to recommend an employee to the full-time staff. This is in line with our nepotism agreement that You know, it won't be manager's brother or sister. It'll be picked by this committee and recommended. But ultimately, the board works as to say so. Part-time employees shall perform the same duties as full-time employees as they are qualified. However, overtime work or to be worked is first offered to full-time employees. If full-time employees refuse or do not respond to the request for overtime, the overtime will be offered to qualified part-time employees. Part-time employees receive a rate of $9 an hour. Now, with the new Obama health care, it really makes this come true because we can't work anybody more than 30 hours a week or they become a full-time employee with benefits. So everything that's in this contract fits those regulations.
Mayor, I might add that as a member of the negotiating committee, we had to give some in order to get the part-time employee provision, but I feel it's a great benefit to the city to have that in the contract because it's going to save the city a lot of money. And and as you know, all of you know, that when we negotiate these contracts, it has to be a give and take. And they were very, very reluctant to give us part-time employees because of certain, and some, I think, justifiably so, certain reasons that they were concerned about it, but they agreed to do so in lieu of what I consider to be a relatively small increase.
You have the figures on that, Bill, handy that you can tell the board. These are figures that will come up over the period of the next 4 years.
It's on here.
The other thing that we were concerned about, we didn't want to give a raise to an employee and have to go out and ask for a water rate increase. So we did a quick little study with what we're able to save with part-time employees and what we're able to muster out of this, the agreements, and by refinancing the 05 bond, we can cover this without asking the council for a raise. However, the council will have to decide what they're going to do in May next year, but we can cover this for at least 2 to 3 years, right?
I would say that's being,
Conservative.
yeah, being pretty conservative. Actually, what it equates to over the 4-year term of the contract, if you just take base wage increase alone for the 4 years, it's going to be an additional $23,296 over the term of the contract.
Not including part-time,
Not including part-time.
because that comes to a total of 40,000.
Well, that depends on how many.
Only if
people
we use
decide
them.
to do it.
We have the
I
ability to use
understand
them or not
that.
use them.
I understand.
Does, Bill, back on these certifications, on the class 1, and I'm trying to understand this really. The class 1, class 2, and class 3, these additionals per hour, that's not included in their wages now, so that will also be an addition. Now, that's not a wage increase, I understand it's a certification increase.
What we have right now in the different classes of certification, whether it be water or wastewater. In the current agreement, they already have that term in there. Basically, what we've done in order to give them a little incentive, which will help us, acquire their certifications and keep them. And actually, what we're adding to each one of those classifications is a nickel.
Okay.
Which amounts to
Okay.
$104 a year per employee.
We think.
If
we
they
think
got their certification.
If they got their certification.
You're talking about additional on top. So you're saying right now, if someone got a different classification, let's say at the class 1, right now it's at 40 cents, it's going to 45.
Exactly.
So if they did not have a classification, it would be an increase of 45 cents on their wage, is that right?
If they don't have a certification period, they don't get any of that.
But if they
certification.
classified, it would go up 45 cents automatically. And then they would also have the raise in the back if this contract is ratified.
Yes.
Okay.
It was our goal because when, like we need a P3 or whatever. Okay, at the waterworks, we only had the choice of one person that had it. We're hoping that some of these people, since we're down to 16 employees, will, because of these classifications, will move forward and get some of these on their own. And that's why we put that in there.
I certainly agree with rewarding classifications. I think that's a great idea. And I think what we have to be careful with here is compounding a classification increase with also a pay increase. That could get to be a little expensive here in the first year, looks to me like.
Right now, Ron, we've got 8 people in the bargaining unit that has various classifications. I think this was geared, and it would be, in my opinion, a good investment if they would go ahead and take the time and get certified.
But if they don't, they get nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I think it's great to reward some of them for improving their ability to do their job. I mean, that's just, there's no question there. But what I'm afraid of is if we get a lot of them going for classifications, which they should, plus with a wage increase, then that 28,000 or 23,000 is pretty much blown out of the water as far as expenditures to the utility. Am I not saying that right?
There's only 7 that are eligible to do that.
No. Oh, okay.
Because they already have the classification. We're already paying them.
You know, I've talked to several of these guys. There's a great group of guys out there. I mean, they really are. They're a good bunch of guys, and I'm really proud of their ability. I've never heard one complain particularly a wage, because anytime you offer a wage to an employee, he's crazy not to accept it. I mean, come on, we're all human. But the fact is, they're more concerned with some of the equipment that we have that we're going to have to be replacing here in the next short term. I'm not saying it's going to be 6 months or a year or 2 years, but it's coming down the road of some of our engine-driven wheeled equipment that's going to be pretty expensive. So I think we need to be a little cautious here, even though it is 20-some thousand or possibly considerably more, about adding anything to the expenses of the utility. I'm just having a real problem with that. Not taking away from employees. But I think there is also as much concerned about their equipment as they are a wage increase. At least that's what they've shared with me.
Well, I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I think, as this board knows, we've got some pieces of equipment, expensive pieces of equipment, that have pretty much exceeded their useful life.
Yeah.
Many years old.
Well, our vac truck, for instance, which, we've talked about it before in the past, to replace that unit today, we're looking at around $350,000. We're trying to get every bit of use that we can out of the one that we've got. And how much longer that's going to be, I don't know. I mean, we'll keep maintaining it and use it as long as we can.
We have that over the whole city. We have a fire truck and an ambulance both in the shop today. That fire truck's 30 years old. That ambulance is a lemon. And I'm sitting here trying to figure out how we're going to work around that. Of course, ours are paid with taxes, yours are paid with rates. But I want to say this. Baker and I, Mr. Baker, excuse me for not having respect. Mr. Baker and I
Call me Jones.
spent hours and hours and hours, along with Bill, trying to negotiate a contract that we can keep this infrastructure of the city going. We have a tremendous size infrastructure, and we've lost our major players. Now, we've got some things in the offing that's going to bring some nice water users back, and it's kind of like the bicentennial. We haven't considered any more income. All we've considered is cost. We are going to have more income, I believe, and I believe that's going to come forth in the next couple of weeks. I hope. John, you were with us on every minute in that room. What do you think?
Well, just like I indicated earlier, there's always give and take in these things, and we very much wanted part-time employees. That was one of our primary goals, and we knew we were going to have to give something to get it. And but it's a quid pro quo, something for something. And the city, by being able to use part-time employees, will save a lot of money, and some of that will be going back in the form of what I consider to be a relatively small increase for people that haven't had an increase for years and years and years. So that's my take on it. But I was in the negotiations, and I may have a different viewpoint than some of the folks that weren't.
Are part-time people exempt from the right to work law? I see that part-time employees have to join the union after 120 days.
That's in their contract now.
That's contract.
Right to work, and where does
It
the
doesn't
state?
affect-
Municipalities are exempt from the right to work law.
It's another crazy thing in the law.
Yep, you're right.
It doesn't
Guess who
make-
makes the law?
I tell me about it, I've been there, I've seen these people. But it's crazy, but what else? What isn't? But one of the things that concerns me about raising wages is, what's gonna keep the 10 non-union people coming before the board and saying, we deserve a raise, so we give the office people a raise, and people at City Hall say, hey, we deserve a raise, people at the park department, the non-union people at the street department, where does this end?
Okay, we have contracts with everybody except the non-contractuals, and I told the union, I told Julie, and I'll tell you guys if I haven't, I think the non-contractuals deserve to have a raise at the end of the year, and when we build the budget, we're going to build into the salary ordinances. We have people that have been working here for 7 years that never gripe, never miss a day. When somebody's missing, they double up and hang in and take the other one's work, and it's only fair that they're rewarded for that. They are now the lowest paid people on the list, and I'm going to put in the salary ordinances that they get exactly a average of the same increases that we've given across the board. Now, I think we've been very conservative about giving any increases to anybody to run a city for 7 years and give this little amount. I look at other cities, we've given the least. Of course, we're also the poorest.
That's right, I mean.
And I understand that, but it's not fair that our non-contractuals don't get some sort of reward. Some of them are nearing retirement and they deserve to have it.
I agree with that, Mayor, but they've at least got a job.
That's right.
Bear that in mind.
I mean, I think, Mayor, I think what your point is well taken, but let's look at the 15 paid holidays they get. The 5 personal days in the utilities department, they get their insurance paid for, all but 10% of it. They get personal days and funeral leave and this and that, and I mean, the benefits are just overwhelming for a city this size. And we're losing population. John and I worked on the redistricting of the council districts. We had 13,481 people according to the 2010 census, and now I hear it's around 12,820. So something not right here. I mean, we keep losing people. The utilities has to be losing customers. It concerns me a great deal that we, I don't know.
You're absolutely right, but we gotta choose the best route to go down the road.
I realize that, but if we're gonna keep running these as city-owned utilities, well, I think we really have to be careful. I mean,
of course, this has 2 hurdles to go through. It has to be passed by this board and recommended to the council, and the council has to pass it. So it's by far not done, but it has been okayed by the union. I don't know what the vote was, but they did okay.
well, I can understand why they're okay. The wages go to $19.11 an hour, plus this other stuff they get, these certifications, and I'd like to know overall just how much are they paid per hour on top of this 1911? And I can't figure it out. I'm not smart enough to figure it out what.
Bill, could you run over that again?
What they're getting.
The
Certifications.
certification, if they have their certification, it is an additional 40 to 50 cents an hour, depending on which one.
Which they're already getting 40 of it,
If they have the certification.
if they have the certification.
And I might add that those certifications are something that, they're not like going out and using a fire extinguisher. I mean, it takes a lot of experience and training to be even eligible to take those state certifications, so they're well earned. But I guess bottom line to your question, on the average hourly worker, they probably are closer to $20 an hour. It's like $19.80. And that's
Okay.
With the certification.
with the certifications and their specialty pays and that type of thing.
Yes.
And other than
And I think that's what you asked.
Other than the
Yes.
fire department and the city police, that's more than anybody else gets paid in the city, is that correct?
You know, I really don't know what police and fire is.
Is that correct, Julie?
I'd say so, yeah.
I have looked at utilities in towns of 1,200 people on up to 80,000 people. I hate to say this in public. I'd like the news people to stuff their ears. But many utility workers make as much as $28 to $30 an hour because they're considered plumbers. I know we're the lowest in employment. I know our population's going down, but we've got to keep quality people to get the darn job done. And I say this, when we got a problem, it don't take just a couple hours to get the thing fixed because they know what they're doing. And what really worries me, I'm not going to be around here, what really worries me, they're all 40 and 50 years old. And
54 is the average age.
yeah, if we don't bring some young people, and that's what we were trying to do with this part-time people, and what we've accomplished over the last 6 years, we have part-time people now, once this goes, if it does, in every department that we have part-time people. If you'd have told me in 2006 or 7 that that was possible, I'd have laughed at you. I was on some of those negotiations when I was on our city council. And I think you can relate to that, Julie. And Mr. Baker, you were there.
Right.
Did you think ever we could get part-time people in every department?
No, that was something that was just unheard of. And it was, no one was gonna give on that issue. But that's all changed.
Says we can hire 5 part-time people, but you still have to keep 16. We have 16 full-time people now. So if somebody quits, retires, we have to
Up to
fill
4.
the spot with a full-time person, right?
Or go to 4 part-time people, right.
No, it says you gotta keep 16 full-time.
Yeah, okay.
In order to keep 5 part-time. But we don't have to have 5 part-time. We
No, but the part-time thing's not doing us any good if only for grass cutting and.
no, they're gonna do everything, Fran.
But my point is, we have to replace, if somebody retires this year, we have to replace them with a full-time employee to keep it at 16, don't we?
But it says part-time employees shall perform the same duties as full-time employees. And traditionally, if a full-time employee retires, then we have a part-time employee that's
But you can't.
qualified, he gets promoted
You
into
can't
full-time.
under this, can you? Hire any part-time people to, if a full-time person quits, you can't replace them with 2 part-times, I'm saying, is that right?
No, I think what would happen is one of the part-time would take that full-time job.
So we have to keep 16 full-time people.
Why do we, John?
Well,
That
not
wasn't,
necessarily.
no.
No.
If we drop below 16, say we
Oh, I see
drop
what you mean.
down and we have 15 employees
Then we go down
working,
to lesser
then we can have
part-time.
part-time employees working up to 4.
Right.
If we drop to 13, we can have 3, and it goes on
2,
down.
1.
But there's no place in this contract says we have to have 16 working all the time.
That's right. That's correct. I'm sorry, I misspoke.
I still don't understand it.
Well, if it goes down to 15 employees, we can
Well,
have
what we're
4.
trying to do is go to part-time, full-time staff in
Yes, I
utility.
understand.
And so, if a full-time employee drops off and we're financially strapped, rather than hire somebody, we would use part-time people to fill in, providing they're qualified. In order, they can learn to operate a backhoe, they can learn to do pipe fitting, they can learn to do all the jobs they need to learn. And we'll get a younger group of people, because it's gonna be your younger people that's gonna work at $9 an hour part-time, and we're gonna train them.
Does the,
And they never go up the scale unless they're hired full-time.
Yes.
so the specialty certification wage increase does not apply to part-time even though he's certified?
None whatsoever. It's a $9 an hour job, period.
There is one provision in this for the certification paid for a part-time employee. If, let me make sure that
Where are you at? What letter?
it's in here someplace, I can't put my eye on it.
Are you in the contract, Bill, or this,
No.
this handout?
We're in the handout that I put in your packet.
What page you on?
Hang on a second. If we hire a part-time person, and you'll see on the first page on line item F, the state certification, specialty certification license pay has been crossed out. And then on 1B, it says part-time employees will be paid $9 per hour and state specialty certifications as eligible. Now, if we hire a part-time person that can document to us that he has been state certified in one of our classifications, he would get that classification pay on top of the $9 an hour.
That was my question, yeah.
Which would be 45 cents.
It could be 45 cents or up to 55 cents, depending on what the certification is.
But we purposely put that in there so that these part-time people would start learning these jobs. Otherwise, what incentive do they have to learn the job?
It's a job,
Well, I think,
period.
I don't, again, I'm gonna restate something here. I don't have a problem with increasing someone for certification. I don't have a problem with that. As a matter of fact, I think they need to be rewarded. But I have a problem here with the pay increase in general and an increase if they go to certified. Because it looks to me like if a full-time employee right now is not certified, he could go get 3 or 4 certifications, which shouldn't be too hard, and increase his pay up to $1.50 an hour. Is that not correct?
that's exactly correct, yes.
So I think the incentive ought to be, rather than giving him a raise, is let him have the incentive to certify himself for his own pay increase. I mean, that makes sense to me. I mean, I employ people. You don't reward people hoping they do better. You reward them after they have
Hoping they take an interest.
made an accomplishment, yeah. I mean, that's the way I look at it, so.
And I agree.
And we have good guys. I'm not picking out one name over the other. I would put our group of guys against anybody, any town around, because I've seen them work and I know what they can do. And, but I think the incentive for being certified, doing a better job is, to me, as if I was an employee of Bill Ammerman in utilities, that's a big incentive to me. Yeah, that makes me a better employee all the way around.
I believe that the whole thing with getting part-time in people, I mean, and this is happening everywhere, not just our industry, everybody else. As I just said, the average age of our employees is 54. You know, we're not gonna work forever, and it gets harder to get in the ditch and work.
It does.
We need to start getting some younger people in here to start preparing for those jobs. And by doing the part-time thing at $9 an hour, I'm not sure what kind of an employee that's gonna draw. It's a job. You know, we may get some real good employees that we can actually train and get them prepared for some of these jobs. And if you look at the way the 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 part-time employees are spelled out here, as I can envision it as some of these older employees retire, we simply don't replace them with full-time employees right at that time. We don't have to, provided we can use part-time employees.
And
to
if
fill
they
some
know
of
what
that
they're
void.
doing.
Yeah. And for certain, we're not going to put a part-time employee in a job that requires skilled trades until they're ready for it. So this is just our way of trying to look into the future and see if we can prepare for when the time comes, as we know it will, these employees are going to start retiring.
Is this a great contract for either side? No. It's the best we could hammer out in 6 or 7 months. We're right up to the deadline. The contract expires the end of June. We may not have this ratified by the end of June, because I will not take it to city council until there's a full council, and I don't know if that's gonna happen.
There's another route you can take on training people. You can hire part-time people, and you can pay the incentive to the gentleman that has to train. We've done that.
But in
all
our
the time.
case, we looked at that. There's so many facets of training, we probably would lose money in doing that. You know, some of the things that, you could train someone to operate a backhoe, yeah, you could train, but there's something that comes up in the middle of the night, you gotta know what you're doing down in the ditch.
Someone has to certify this employee, and you certainly can't certify an employee unless you already have the certification yourself. I mean, that's like issuing a diploma. You can't issue a diploma greater than the one that you carry yourself. I mean, but,
Well, what's your pleasure? We can spend another 2 hours on this. Do you wanna table it? Do you wanna pass it? Do you wanna deny it? What do you wanna do?
I honestly, out of all respect to our people, I cannot send this to city council with a pay increase. Now, I like the incentive increase, I'll have to say that, but I don't think I can vote for it with a pay increase.
My take, Your Honor, is until we get proven facts that we've got more business coming to this city, that's gonna increase the economy in this city and bring jobs to this city, I don't believe we should be giving any more money away. And I agree with Ron. We have a good crew, and I would commend them to the highest, but they're making good wages, and I just can't see it. And I'll second his motion.
Did you make a motion, Ron?
Well, I didn't, I guess I could turn it into a, and again, in support of what I just made the statement, I have not, I've talked to several of these guys, and I really don't think wages, hourly wages that they're getting now has been a big issue. Now, they're not gonna turn a raise down, don't get me wrong, nobody's gonna turn a raise down, but I don't think their wages have been a big issue.
You should have been in the negotiating room.
Yeah, well, I think it's more of a
What do you think, Mr.
character.
Baker? Was it an issue?
It seemed to be.
I think it's more of a character of the union than it is a particular employee. And maybe that's making a division there that's hard to determine, but
Was your motion to accept the contract, or?
my motion would be to decline the contract because of the wage increase, not the incentive increase.
And you're seconding that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I know Bill said that this 23,000, whatever it is, will not cause a rate increase, but I think when you add that with other contributing factors between now and next July 1, I think it very easily could cause a rate increase, and we're just raising the people's rate $4.05 in 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks at the beginning of July as a half of that 12% raise from a year ago, and I agree with these guys that I can't support this. I think it sets a bad precedent for wage increases all the way down. I know you said that you're going to submit budgets with increases, and I'm afraid I'll have to vote no on that too, so.
You gotta look at it. Everybody else got a little something around here the last 2 years. The poor girls in the office are the
Yeah,
hardest working, never complain.
I agree, but again, let's look at the benefits, Mayor. I mean, they're beyond compared to any third-class cities I've seen. And, you know, the longevity is, to me, way out of line compared to other towns. And there's just benefits that I think are out of reason. That's all I have to say.
I have a motion on the floor. We'll have a roll call vote, and state the motion again, Julie, so we be sure we know what we're voting on.
To decline the contract.
Okay, so if you want to decline the contract, your vote would be a yes. If you want to keep the contract as it would be a no, correct?
Is that correct, Ron?
So yes
That's
means
correct.
no, and
Yes means no, and no means yes.
That's correct.
Fran Schomel,
yes, I think, unless it's halfway yes and halfway no, I'm not sure.
Now, you're voting to decline the
To decline
contract.
Yes,
You vote
yes.
Leonard Urban,
No. And I have to do that, folks,
Absolutely.
because I negotiated the
Well, I
contract.
appreciate your guys, I mean, you guys worked hard on it, and I appreciate that, but hey,
I understand.
I've been in the negotiating things.
I
and-
told the union it was gonna be a tough go. I really did. Bill and I,
Mike Bishop,
Yes.
Ron Coldiron,
Yes.
okay, the vote is 3-1 to deny the contract and not send it to city council. Okay, let's move on to our next item of business. We've been working with the First Merchants Bank, that's the bank up there where they're building on to the bank. Everybody familiar with it, so when I talk about it. Okay, there's a two-way alley right at the north side of the Central Christian Church, and there's a white building in between Central Christian Church and that alley called Christian Manor. And they use it for meetings and Sunday school and different things. They park alongside of that. And what happened when the bank began to remodel their bank, I don't think they realized they were gonna be using a public alley to go in. And so they put some signs up there with arrows on the street, banking only, entrance to bank only. Well, I had complaints immediately, of course. So I went up there and looked at it. We don't have a city engineer. I took Mr. Baker up there, he and I looked at it. I went up there with the engineer for the bank establishment. I talked with the bank employees, and we tried to come to some compromise what we're gonna do. And what we've come to is, the The alley in and out is 22 feet wide. It's an in and out alley. We feel, Mr. Baker, the law department, that anybody has a right to use that alley. Whether they be going into Ron Coldiron's plumbing shop, whether they're going into my funeral home, or going into somebody's house, or going into a bank. The only stipulation is they can't put a sign up there that says bank entrance only. They still have a right to use it. And they do have a sign on their own property that indicates entrance to bank drive-up. But it's on their own property and doesn't say only. So Mr. Baker and I have kind of told them that we would take this to Board of Works and we'll leave it as is and see how it works. The other choices we had was to force them to make another driveway just north of their driveway, which stops them from making the turn and what they call piling up or stacking of their cars going through the drive-up. It makes the turn short. It also eliminates the parking place on Central, and there's two entrances on Central, which would be confusing. So we said to them, we think as long as they don't put only on there, they don't put any arrows, and it says bank entrance, so be it. Now, if any of you have a problem with that, we're gonna try that. If that doesn't work out and we start getting a lot of complaints, then we'll have to go to something different.
Is there a liability issue in it for us at all?
No, because they're still using a public street and they haven't changed it. Like I say, anybody can use it.
Well, they also intended to make it a one-way alley, which was, we couldn't allow, as you know, and the church wanted to keep it two-way, so. Well, it could be made a one-way if they went through the proper procedure and filed petitions and had public hearing and so on, but
I don't think.
that wouldn't
I don't
be
think
very
it would
successful, I don't imagine.
I don't think so.
So anyway,
What I'd like you to do is just to ratify what Mr. Baker and I have told him on a trial basis here and see how we go. It means nothing really, because we're gonna leave it like it is.
Right.
But it shows that we did something, and then we'll try it, and if they're happy with it, and the church is happy with it, and everybody else in town's happy with it, we'll just, that's the way it'll be.
Fine with me.
I have a motion to ratify what Mr. Baker and I have told the bank.
So move.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we're ready for utilities again, Mr. Superintendent. Don't spend any money.
Okay, how about I make this easy? We've got a request for trash collection at 134 Houston Street, and it's the Lighthouse Church up over there, they want trash.
What's the address?
It is 134 Houston.
Lighthouse Church.
Yeah, it's Lighthouse
I
Church.
think we've been making a practice of collecting churches. They want a big container.
I imagine I didn't.
It's a $10 fee.
Is our small totes arrived yet?
No, I don't think so. And if they did, they arrived in the last day or two. I don't think they have, but they were very near ready to arrive.
Do we need a motion
Yeah,
on that?
I need a motion.
I'd make a motion to trash pickup for the Lighthouse Church.
Second.
Any opposing? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Will you tell,
I'll let them know. We typically let Bonnie know when she runs.
okay, I'll shoot you.
I guess I just need to expand a little bit on what we are intending to do with the water main up on 3rd Street for you.
Well, this is where we've had the spill with the transite pipe.
Yeah.
And that's where we're going with
Yeah,
this.
I know Steve talked about it and without any detail, but I just want to make sure that the public is aware that there's nothing at this point in time wrong with that water line that's in place now. This is simply as a precautionary thing for the future, not knowing for sure what that chemical could possibly do to it in the long run. So we've decided to reconnect 5 properties up there between 1100 block and 1200 block of 3rd Street on the 10-inch main, as Steve was talking about. We got one on the south side of the road. And we will eventually abandon about 1,000 foot of that transite main on the north side. And that's simply as a precautionary thing more than anything at this point in time.
So we do not, we're anticipating that we do not have to change that main, Bill, is that correct?
Right, we're just gonna simply abandon it, and what I'll do on the west end of that, in order to recreate the loop that we're losing per se, we're gonna directional bore a 4-inch from the south side and reconnect to the 4-inch on the north side, west of the spill.
So you'll be on steel pipe all the way around.
Right, it'll have to be put in casing. It'll be a 4-inch main and 6-inch casing. And then we'll probably set a little flush hydrant there, so we do have means of just flushing that part of the system. So anyway, that's,
And that'll be at the expense of the insurance company or the spill.
right.
They're gonna cover that. We've negotiated that with them.
And we will work in conjunction with the contractor to make sure that it gets done the way that we want it to. And if we spend any time there, which we'll back bill Superior for. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of let the board know that that's what the intent is.
How soon are you going to do that?
Well, we'll find out for sure tomorrow. We've got another planning meeting in the morning. On our end, all the material is, we should have all the material in hand this afternoon. Of course, we have to call digging on it, which should be in place as well. So as soon as they give us the go-ahead that we're not interfering with their work, it could start as early as midweek.
You can bore under the highway?
Yeah, we'll, on the south side of the road where we're gonna tap that 10-inch main, we'll have to dig a pit, expose the main, tap it, and put a cork on it, and then we've got what we call a node, where you can just poke a hole underneath the road, 5 foot deep or so, and then run the new service line in that hole, and then reconnect it to the pits on the other side. That's typically the way it's done.
Yeah.
I think there's only 5 in there, Bill, but we're gonna have to do that.
There's 5 that we're gonna have, yeah, there's 5 residential properties down through there.
It's up to the motel, right? The
Yeah,
motel.
Right east of the motel is
Yes.
where we're gonna run a 4-inch across and connect it right there.
I see.
And then when we get all these done, we'll just sever that old pipe. And I'm sure that they'll pull part of it out during their excavation, but most likely it'll just be abandoned in place. And if it wasn't because of the pipe material, we wouldn't have to do anything with it, but with that transite material that was manufactured back in the early 1900s.
Is that toxic? What's spilled?
Well, it's a solvent.
Okay.
It's like you clean your paint brushes with when you paint oil paint.
Right, I've used it.
Yeah.
It's got a pretty good odor to it.
You probably smelled it down here, please.
Yes, for a little bit till the wind changed.
Yeah, it's a solvent, and it definitely worked on part of that road there, and like I say, what we've had the main exposed so far looks fine, but this is just as precautionary.
I think it's smart.
And I guess after talking about the contracts and stuff, that's really all I have. And if anybody has any questions on the financials or anything, I'd be happy to answer.
How are we doing? Are we holding our own?
Well, this month, we actually made a little profit in all 3 utilities. And I can go over them if you want me to on the water.
Yeah, I wish you would.
Actually, we started out in the water department at $563,963. And after we paid all the bills and everything, we ended up with a cash balance of $618,009. So we did actually see a gain in water this month.
Yes.
Wastewater started out $621,582, and ending balance is $658,455. So then again, a little increase there as well. And in our stormwater, of course, this is earmarked for some of the projects down the road. We started out with $1,081,586. and their ending cash balance is $1,133,031. So all three funds did see a pretty good increase this month.
And the stormwater will finance the Grand Avenue project?
Yeah, we do have to partially fund that project.
We've paid for part of it, haven't we already?
Well,
Some
we
of it.
paid for some of the design work.
Yeah,
and
that's what I mean,
engineering.
yes.
Once, before they let the project, we'll have to come up with our share of the match, which I'm still not 100% sure exactly what that fee is, but
We can take that little 5 miles.
no, it has to come out of,
Stormwater.
our funds on hand.
Well, the city pays for part of that, we pay for part of that out of tax dollars. Because it's considered a street project.
It's a road reconstruction project, and we're just participating in the stormwater part of it. And I've still not seen the exact breakdown. I know it was a total of $777,000 city and the utility share. And I'm not really sure what that percentage is going to be cleared out to. But anyway, that will come out of our cash on hand on the stormwater. And then again, while that project is going on, our funds should still continue to build. And we'll be able to at least fund the next project after the Grand Avenue. And hopefully one after that, but that's kind of unknown yet. We don't know what the extent of it's going to be.
When's the state gonna let the bid for Grand Avenue?
October 9th, I believe. You know, you was talking about some of the silly things agencies do. You know, we've got utility lines that needs to be relocated up there with some of the water mains and things, and of course, we're gonna be responsible for it. We're a city-owned entity, so we, as a utility, has to have a utility relocation agreement between the utilities and the city. And so I'll be bringing that to you probably in the next meeting.
We finally got that concrete blacktop thing settled, did we? That's over with now. And how much what did it end up costing us?
Well, I'm not saying the final cost on that, that's something between you and Western. I'm not getting involved in that.
We denied it, so I mean, I gotta agree to it before they can do it to us.
But the study is complete.
So it's not holding up the contract or the starting date.
We're on track with everything. And as soon as I get a final cost estimate and breakdown on everything, we'll get with Snyder and come up with an agreement for their construction inspection services. So everything's on track, it's just about a year later than I thought it should be.
Thank you, Bill.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Under old business, I'm gonna talk a little bit about 4-H building. Fran was there.
Yeah, that's great.
Ronnie was there. I don't know whether you got out there to see.
I apologize, I couldn't.
Okay. That project is coming to a close. We still got a lot of little things we gotta do, and we're trying to do them and try to finance some wiggling funds here and there. We'd like to do a little landscaping. We still got a sidewalk to pour on the west side. We've made parking almost 50 cars up there. It's pretty good. Ronnie, you have any comment on the whole project?
Well, I'm just impressed with the building all the way around. I just think it's a great asset to the Parks Department. I think it's a great asset to Connersville. I think it's money been well spent. I have yet to hear one negative comment on the building. I mean, everybody's talking about it, and I just think it's a very useful project. I think it's something Connersville can be proud of.
We preserve some heritage.
That's right.
For something that almost got denied
Saved
and brought
it.
back.
Well, it was scary, I mean. We had a 3-3 tie on that because one of our members, being new to the council, decided not to vote yea or nay, and the mayor broke the tie, and that's the only thing that kept us from losing that building, historical building, would have been a real tragedy, in my opinion. I mean, I couldn't believe the way it wanted to level that thing. So I was real impressed with it. I think the city guys, when I saw that last year during Fair Week, I thought, there's no way, with the walls off and the ceiling off, but it was brought back to life like the pavilion, and Just shows you what you can do.
The other part of it, I think it's gonna be a financial asset to the park, as
Well, I
far as
agree.
people renting it for.
Mike is beginning to rent it, he's got it booked up several times, it's we've had to turn down proms and we've had to turn down weddings and, it's an excellent place for that kind of thing because of the stage and
Yes.
we got a little tweaking, we gotta work on the sound system a little bit, we gotta get a little more sound, what you call it, absorption, and we got some ideas how we can do it pretty reasonable. But anyway, that's behind us now, the bicentennial's upon us and we need to take part. As I told you at the beginning of the meeting, we got an ambulance and a fire truck both in the workshop today. That fire truck is just not gonna hold up. We've written a grant for a fire truck, every year. I don't know what to do. The ambulance, I've talked with the county commissioners, they're pretty agreeable with me. That is a 6.0 diesel engine, and these diesel engines will work pretty good in a little pickup truck, but when you put the pressure on it that we do on an ambulance and the weight we've got on it, problems, and this time I think it's an oil pump. But you gotta pull the thing almost in pieces to work on it. We have a grant out there for a ambulance right now, and I don't want to even think about buying an ambulance till we see where the grant goes. But I do want to give the commander to start looking, because I don't know if we'll make the winter with the thing. I don't know what you want to do on the fire truck. It's a piece of junk, really. And
How old is it?
It's a refurbished, it's 30 years old, but it's refurbished, so it's got a title of,
It's a 2000 title, it was actually 79, early 80. So it's going on 33 years
it
old.
was a mistake. When they refurbished it, they upgraded the title.
Yeah.
But it just gives us fits, doesn't work. And that's something, when you pull out of the garage, you want it to work when you get there. And, well, we've had it in the garage this last 2 months, just constantly, it's out more than it's in. So, something's gonna have to be done. We'll try to write a grant for a fire truck again.
What's the cost of a fire truck?
300,000.
290 to 320.
Wow. An ambulance?
150, 160.
Of course, the county will split the cost of the ambulance with us, and then we'll be able to get something out of that ambulance. On the fire truck, I asked Julie if we wanted to lease purchase a fire truck. We could start looking at that if this board wants to ask the council to approve that, to start looking.
Could we not do with a fire truck like we did with the police car, Your Honor?
Well, we've been looking at that. We've been looking at used fire trucks. What have you found? Come up.
In the used fire trucks are usually built to last the city around 20 years. And usually there's a reason why they sell them, or they trade them. I found 4 of them in Iowa. They were spec'd out at, they were $550,000 trucks, so they're around $300 to $350. We've looked at a bunch of demos. We can buy demos. That's the price I told you, around $290. Lease to purchase on them up to 10 years. Get you down somewhat. But thing about a used truck is they usually have more miles than the ones we're getting rid of. So that's kind of where we're at.
But it's something we're gonna have to face. Either we will or the next administration will face it, because
We won't get this truck on a grant. The one that needs to be replaced, because they consider it a 2000. So it's not even close to being that. And the other trucks are a 93 and a 91. So we need to focus writing grants on them. We're spinning our wheels writing for that. So that's what we need.
What wears out on a fire truck? I mean, you don't use them, they don't travel that many miles, do they?
No, they're just,
The sitting hurts them
yeah,
worse than anything.
they get a lot of weight on them, a lot of things just break down.
this one has old technology, because it's, like you said, a 79 truck that they supposedly refurbished and brought it up to a 2000, which was a big mistake. I don't know who did it or why they did it, but we should have never done it.
It's cost us more than what we would have bought
Really?
if we'd have purchased.
Really?
Yeah. it has. What happens, Fran, if I could inject here, when they refurbish that truck and bring it up to that 2000 date, when you write a grant on it, it looks like it's a 2000 truck, but it's 20 years old. Yeah. And then they just throw the grant out. it was kind of a mistake by doing that, but hindsight's 2020. We've still got a
It's
20-year-old
actually
truck.
33 years old.
Yeah, and when you refurbished, you still got the original engine, the original pumps, the original back part of the truck, all the doors and the compartments, the original rear end and transmission. So you're really not getting nothing when you refurb but a cab and the frame rails.
I see.
So,
They do a lot of that refurbing because firemen used to ride on the back of the truck and
Yes.
refurb it, put a cab on so you ride in it because it's OSHA law now.
no
But anyway,
refurb.
we can't solve that today and I don't want to take the time, but those are two issues we need to face over the next 2 to 3, 4 years. I had City Hall painted and we ran into about 5 doors that were rotted out. You probably saw John putting a new door in over here today, police department. We wanted it to look nice. I think I got it done for $1,500, didn't I?
I don't think I've seen them.
Yeah. But we could have painted ourselves, but we ran out of time with all the things we gotta do. We're building a building over at the park, over by the first aid unit. We are finishing 4-H building. We're doing all kinds of work in the park. We're trying to get ready for bicentennial. And of course, our staff is down to the bare bones.
We're running that,
I think we got a lot of work done for what we've
oh, I agree.
had to work. So I hired the building painted. We had some money in other contractuals, and we got the building painted and the shutters painted. I think this building looks nice. We got a new roof on it. I was hoping to get 911 done. I'm gonna take the awning off 911 this week. It's all rotted out and looks terrible, and as the clerk treasurer tells me, the simplest things take off and do away with it. So we're gonna do that this week. I have a parade float coming. I would like for you to commit to ride on. It's a city float. I've sent letters out, and I don't know if you can, Mike, but if you can. Ronnie, you'd be able to if you could. The city needs to be represented. I'm sure you'll be in a fire truck in a parade.
When is it, Mayor?
6th of July. Your utilities, we could have some of your utilities people on there. Wave at the people, wear your bikini.
Oh, wouldn't that be pretty?
I would like a commitment. We
Too much
got room for 8
information.
to 10 people to ride on this float, and I'd like a commitment from city people.
I've already got to walk it.
Dave,
Let's see if we can get some.
see what you could do for us out of your department, okay? All right, other than that,
Bill has something.
oh, wait a
Give
minute.
us to bring this,
Wait a
this
minute.
striker thing in.
Okay, we also have to schedule a Board of Works meeting from a week from today at 1 o'clock. I'm gonna tentatively schedule it. We're gonna be working with the new company that possibly going into Vistion, and we'll be working with the redevelopment commission, and I'm going to schedule a city council meeting for that day. That's what we want, right, John?
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, both city council, board of works, and then the redevelopment committee.
What's the
We'll
date?
all meet, and I'll give you the times, and I'll get letters out to you, okay?
It's 24th.
24th. All right, go ahead.
That's good.
I hope it's good news.
Glad to hear
I do
that.
too.
Yes,
Because everybody's waiting on it.
Before the meeting started, I talked with Julie. We have a cot in one of the ambulances that we're having some major issues with, and we've contacted Stryker. And to get this fixed at a very reasonable cost, I believe, that we have to have a purchase agreement, or not a purchase, a service agreement. And by doing so, it will cut over the period of the year, it will cut the cost of the maintenance on the cots down quite a bit. Cost per year is $1,600 a year, and it's a total of a 3-year agreement at $4,800.
I believe just to come in and fix it this one time was gonna be what, $700 or $800?
Yeah, between $700 and $800 to fix it.
Did we buy this cut from them?
Yes,
Do we have,
Why is it already going bad?
because we've had it about 6 years.
Is this the electric one? We've already had that 6 years?
Yeah.
Jeez.
We had two.
That's
Yeah,
not the
we
new
have
one
to,
that we
yeah.
just bought a couple years ago. I think that's what's confusing me, yeah.
Does this cover both of them then?
Yes, this will cover both cots and each ambulance.
do we have the money in the budget for this?
It'll be in,
For the 1,600, I
yeah,
think.
it'll be
Okay.
in my budget.
Okay, so
We need a motion on that, Your Honor. I move that we go ahead and grant this Stryker Protection Service Agency for 3 years to cover services for whatever we need on our EMT unit,
It's 2 cots.
2 cots.
Is there a second?
Yes.
I have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
We got the claims to pay.
Mayor, may I ask?
Yeah.
I have one thing. If it's not too much work on Julie, or whoever has to do it, I would like to see on paper a comparison of fuel usage before and after the purchase of the new trash truck. And see what we were spending before and see what we're spending now. I tried to look it up in the claims and it's just,
We can get that for you, I think.
okay,
Give us a little time, but we'll have the girls get that.
as long as it's tomorrow, that's
Julie, no,
fine.
I can't have it.
You can ask.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Mayor, that's all.
I was asked why the old truck follows the new truck.
I ask that all the time, but we're still in a growing.
We're
I
gonna
don't
be 10
know.
foot tall pretty soon, I'm telling you. We're gonna be 10 foot tall pretty soon, because I get the same questions.
I thought, I don't know why it's following it.
I haven't seen it in my area where I live, I just get the one truck, it's pretty impressive.
I'm working hard at that. Give me a little more time. will you?
Okay, I mean, I don't know. I said, I don't know.
Here's what happens, there's several reasons. On the hills, in some places, we've been using the tippers on the back of the truck. And in some places, like say we have a regular driver, he can pick up 1,000, 1,200 buckets a day, and then our second and third driver maybe can't do that because he doesn't have as much experience in order to get the job done. I gotta send the second truck out and help him. Now, as they get better and better with it, we can do that. Don't leave us, Joe, we're about to quit here. Joe's president of the redevelopment board, and I want him to meet with Mr. Baker and I. But that's two of the explanations. Sometimes it's done to save overtime. If we got the guys available to go out and help pick up trash, we do it. Rather than work overtime on the new truck, we just go ahead and do it. And then sometimes we do it when we're servicing the new truck. So there's some reasons, but it's being done too much, and I've tried to cut it back, and I'm working at it, I can promise you.
Okay.
Okay.
Give us a little time.
Thank you, Your Honor, I appreciate
Thank you,
the
Mayor.
explanation. Total claims for the city, 172. The amount of money was $132,313.45.
Utilities claims, excuse me, water was $128,887.36, of which $31,000 of that was a bond. Sewer was $85,615.20. Stormwater, $9,045.59. Trash, $51,465.28, for a total of $275,013.43, excuse me.
You've had the claims in your possession for 3 days, and everybody's reviewed them. Any questions, discussion? Okay, on claims, I have a motion.
I make a motion that we accept the claims as stated.
I'll second.
No roll call vote.
Fran Sholem?
Yes.
Leonard Urban?
Yes.
Mike Bishop?
Yes, ma'am.
Ron Coldiron?
Yes.
You've accepted the claims, motion carried. We have one other issue.
Help me, Lord.
The issue is going to be that the contract at the utility is going to expire at the end of June. I guess I need a tentative okay from you to extend the contract for another month or two. John, is that the proper thing to do?
Well, that certainly would be a possibility.
Well, I'm not going to get it done before the end of the month.
Right. Right, yeah, we need to extend it.
We can't do it unless the union agrees to it, can we?
Well, I can offer to extend the contract.
That's
If
what I
they don't
mean.
extend the contract, then it's not my problem.
That's right.
But I would extend it, if you would give me permission. What would you want to say, John? 1, 2, 3 months, what?
90 days, maybe.
90 days?
Probably so, yeah.
Could I have a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion to extend the existing contract with utilities for 90 days, starting July 1st.
If the union,
If the union agrees, yeah.
they don't agree, I guess we have no union, no contract.
You may want to consider amending that to up to 90 days.
Up to.
Up to 90
Yeah.
days, yes, okay, yes.
For a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So there's no point in taking it to the council tonight.
Right.
Was there another issue I needed to bring up here today, John? What else were we working on? Seemed like there was something that I had to, and I didn't write it down. Okay. I'll take a motion to adjourn. I will find it.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We will adjourn.